A ton of cool Gremlins made, and NECA continues this streak. This is your look at the new NECA toys, the Gremlins Ultimate Flasher Gremlin. A gadget salesman is looking for a special gift for his son and finds one at a store in Chinatown. The shopkeeper is reluctant to part with the mogwai, but sells it to him with a warning to never expose it to bright light, water, or to feed it after midnight. All this happens, and the result is a gang of gremlins that decide to tear up the town on Christmas Eve. Before the gremlin goes and starts bearing all, the first thing we're going to do is figure out how tall the Flasher Gremlin stands. It stands also to reason that underneath the trench coat is pretty much the exact same gremlin that we've gone before with the Ultimate Gremlin and also the Ultimate Gamer Gremlin, both of which we've looked at on this channel. And while I am calculating just how tall Flasher Gremlin stands, I'd like to send out a big mad props thanks to the folks over at NECA Toys who provided the sample that we're having a look at in this review. If you're in the market, by the way, politician hands, to pick up this one for yourself, you can most definitely find it now through various comic book stores, retail stores, and online stores as well. The Flasher Gremlin stands at 6.3 inches in height. And switching that quickly over to centimeters, then you're looking at the Flasher Gremlin standing 16 centimeters exactly. Like I said, though, this is the exact same gremlin that we had gotten before, and the proof is in the pudding. Who wants tapioca? We're going to bring in the Ultimate Gamer Gremlin. Like I said, it's pretty much the exact same gremlin that we had gotten before. And for some fun other comparisons, as I never seem to bring him in, here he is next to Ultimate Gizmo. Gizmo is quite considerably shorter. Oh, those wonky eyes. Get a good gander at those wonky eyes. Yeah, that had to be fixed. But you can still see how roughly they are identical to one another. This one and this one is identical and still much taller than poor Ultimate Gizmo Gremlin. I don't even know where he's looking. He's looking somewhere. He's certainly not looking at us. Usually when it comes to these Gremlin releases, NECA packs them to the rim with accessories. And Flasher Gremlin here is no exception. Now, while you are looking at some of these accessories, you may be scratching your head thinking, wait a minute, I've seen those before. Deja vu may fall across your face as you think you've seen these, because yes, some of these accessories have made appearances previously in other Gremlin releases. And we'll sort of talk about that as we have a look at each and every one of them. The trench coat is removable on the Gremlin, so we'll take that off in a second. But while we're sort of sticking to the idea of flashing people, that's never a good thing. The first accessory we'll have a look at is his Fedora. The Fedora here is made of dense plastic, though the rim is done more slightly softer. On the underside, there's these little notches on either side. Got to believe that that's just so that it sits a little more comfortably and more securely over top of the brow of the gremlin. The coloring is nice brown, although it does have a bit of a semi-gloss sheen to it, so it really does a great job of reflecting off the light where you can really see like the texturing done to the actual hat itself. And then, of course, you've got a band going around that I could best describe as coffee when somebody wants a whole lot of cream in it. It's a very lighter color of beige brown, and as you can see, it's been painted nicely all around the entire perimeter of the hat. We'll go ahead and put that onto the gremlin's head, being that these are all specifically supposed to be oversized. After all, these are things that the gremlins sort of find while they're looting and going around people's houses and homes. The hat doesn't really stay in place. I mean, it sort of has, as I said, those little ledges. Those ledges, if you see them underneath here, they sort of just fit on the little spiked sections of the brow, but not enough that it's going to keep it in place. No, only thing working for your favor is a little bit of gravity and the fact that you have your gremlin standing straight up. Any bit of tilting and tipping, the hat generally does fall off, although if you can kind of get it just on those little spikes, it seems just enough to keep that in place. But generally, yes, it just will fall off. With the trench coat as well as the hat, I keep continuing to drop the hat. As I said, they're generally oversized. They're not supposed to fit the gremlin because, again, these are things that they would have found around people's homes. While we're also sticking to the notion of creep factor, he does also come with a pair of glasses. I'll just put the Gremlin down here for 1 second. The glasses, if we look at them again, deja vu, perhaps. These happen to be the same Cool Modi. There I go, quoting Cool Modi again. The same glasses that we had gotten with the Gamer Gremlin. The exact same. Other than, again, I would probably say, when it comes to the Flasher's version of the glasses, it seems like the frames are slightly darker than the one that we had gotten before. As you can see, though, it pretty much is the exact same glasses, and they attach the exact same way. Just pry them ever so slightly. This would work, of course, a lot easier if you have the Gremlin in your hand. And I find it's just best to sort of rest it on the eyes and then very carefully, not drop the Gremlin, very carefully on both sides, sort of pry the frames away from themselves and just fit it over top of the face there. And you get a very secure fit, just like so. And I must say that definitely does add a whole lot of extra to the Flasher Gremlin. Of course, we can then finish off the touches by going ahead and grabbing the hat. The hat just fits on top like so. And that's probably going to be the way I'm going to display it. But oh no. There's still a lot more accessories that come included with the Flasher Gremlin here. To check out the rest of the accessories, I suppose the first thing we might just do is take off the trench coat. But I want to show you just first how it looks on the Gremlin itself. He does have a belt that sort of keeps things together, but I found you actually just have to wrap the belt around itself and then just tie it off. If you look at the actual opening of the belt, and then if you look at the other end of it, it doesn't seem like it just barely fits. But again, the whole idea with this is the Gremlin would have very crudely put the jacket on until he decides he wants to flash the neighborhood. As you can see, he's got some nice buttons all done to the sides, actually on both sides, and a very large jacket collar as well. Ironically enough, the sleeves don't fit the full length of the Gremlin's hand or arm. As you can see, there's the back of it's a very nice tailored jacket. Looking at it reminds me a bit like Raphael from the just recently looked at Raphael and Casey Jones set, where Raph may not have worn a similar style of jacket, yes, but not the exact same jacket. You can go ahead and just remove it. It's very easy, actually. You're just going to take that and slide it down the arms. If it does help a bit, you can also remove the hands. We'll go ahead and do that right now. Just wiggle this off very carefully and just pop it off the ball joint. You may find yourself doing that a couple more times as well, because there are a few swappable hand options. There's one other, actually, to be exact. You're just going to go ahead and pop that off. And then you're going to very carefully slide the jacket down. I suppose you don't have to be super careful, but you can still be careful sliding the jacket down, as when you are pulling it down, there's a few little areas inside that have been sewn, and with a couple of just loose little threads sticking up. If you're not careful, they could get caught on the elbow, so we'll just tread lightly and just wiggle that off and pop off the jacket like so. Underneath that, yes, you're basically getting the exact same Gremlin that we had gotten before. Let's just go ahead and revisit the hands, pop those back into place. He can't certainly wreak havoc if he doesn't have any hands to speak of. So we'll go ahead and just pop those hands back into place. There we go. But as I was mentioning, though, he does come with one other pair of one hand. Not really technically a pair, just one hand. And that actually attaches on this side right here. So I guess we could probably just do that now. I mean, this hand does serve perfect purpose, for example, for like the trading cards. We can kind of fit that in between his finger and his thumb, just like that. Speaking of things that have maybe made reappearances, these cards actually came appearing in the original Ultimate Gremlin. He came with these, as well as a candy bar, a couple of candy bars. He came with the beer that we're going to be looking at, and he also came with the soda. The soda also came included with the Ultimate Gamer Gremlin, so you can sort of see how NECA wants to reuse those accessories. And it really goes for Gremlins. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't want to just reuse those accessories. I mean, they're so cool, in fact, anyways. Just reuse them. That's what the cards look like, printed on the back side there, with, of course, the cards deco. If you want to call it deco. I don't know if they're not bicycle cards. That would be my go-to of cards growing up. But as you can see, 4 cards with only 3 actually being visible. And as I said, it just fits kind of into his hand, fitting it in between the thumb and the index finger, pointer finger. There we go. Just slide it in place, and you've got yourself a Gremlin ready to play some cards. But he does technically have a few other accessories as well, if he wants to be gambling his debts away. Well, he wouldn't be gambling his debts away. His debts would be made from certainly all the gambling he would be doing anyways. He does come also included with a bow tie. And as you can see, the bow tie is all done in black. It doesn't actually separate from itself. So the question, of course, you would be asking is, how does that get over top of the gremlin's head? Well, the easiest solution to that problem is just be yanking the head off. Just wiggle it off, just pop this off. This might actually mark the only time I've ever taken a gremlin head off, because there's never really been a reason otherwise to do so. I'm going to go ahead and take, there we go, the bow tie, just fit that over place. It's supposed to, again, be really loose on the figure, and then from there you can just go ahead and revisit the head. Now, he could be the card dealer. If everybody is circling around the table ready to play some cards, he could be dealing out the cards. Or again, like you could put the cards just in his hand. But he does also come with a couple other cool things. Actually, you know what? Speaking of dealer, he does also come with a dealer hat. And that just fits over top of his head. Now, you could, I suppose, looking at the way that this is designed, I guess you could unpeg the ears off. I've never really done that with a gremlin, and very reluctant actually to do so. So I think I might just actually leave it. But if you wanted to, I suppose you could probably take the ears off and try to feed them through. But I think the intended plan really is just to have the visor sitting on top of his head, just like that. And that looks really good as well, though, again, like the Fedora that we already had a look at, very prone to falling off, simply just because there's nothing really on the head of the gremlin to keep it in place. The other thing he comes included with for playing some cards, we'll just put the figure down here for a second. The gremlin also includes, just get him to stand here, there we go. He also comes with a pair of cashed-in chips. We're all in, and apparently one of the gremlin decides he wants to play popcorn. I don't think popcorn works so well in the game of poker. This is probably just popcorn that they've been consuming along the ways. Now, kind of backtracking to the Ultimate Gamer Gremlin that we had to look at before. Remember they came with a little bucket of popcorn? Ah, yes. If you got yourself actually a little small table, it would be fun to see NECA release sort of accessory tables and things that the gremlins could sit around. Then you could easily just put the popcorn on there. You could put a few little beverages and drinks. You could also put the beer on the table as well. And then they could actually really legitimately play a game of poker. You can see the different colored chips, done in red, done in white, done in blue, with a few cards visible with their faces facing up. A really nice looking piece, though unfinished on the underside. You're not really going to be seeing that anyways. But it definitely looks good. It makes me think more and more that I'd love to get a circular table. I think a circular table works best. Do they make smaller circular poker tables for 7-inch tall figures? Probably very unlikely, but I certainly would love to see that be the case, so you could actually get these accessories that NECA certainly has taken the time to make so nicely, and actually be able to set up a nice little diorama. I'll see if I can actually do that myself. Other accessories that come included with the figure, he does get himself a stein of beer. This is the same accessory that came included with the Ultimate Gremlin that we looked at before. It does have a removable head as well, so you can just slide off the caramel plastic with the foam done along the top. Get a good look at even the foam that they put into it as well. A nice little additional brown that's been kind of added to it as well, so it does look like it's got some substantial texturing going on. That looks really good. I like these, and I like the fact that you can remove it. So you could have, if now already we have 2 of these, you could have one gremlin looking as if he's already finished it off, looking for a refill, and one gremlin that already has gotten a refill, about to drink it down. Nice little touch. I like that they included that. Other accessories he comes included with, in the category of most easiest to lose, he does come with a pair of cigarettes. He does technically come with 4. I'm not a fibber face. There are actually 4. There's 3, and there's 4. If ever there was an accessory to be lost, it would be likely these. They all look similar to one another, all currently lit with the ashes done to the end there just before you're ready to tap that off. Very nicely painted overall. Currently, the hands that he's sporting wouldn't be suitable enough to be able to hold these cigarettes. So he does also come included with this hand right here. And this hand is just perfect for holding the cigarette. What you basically have to do is you have to wedge it in between the thumb and the pointer finger, just like so. Luckily, the plastic that they use for the hand is just soft enough that you can navigate the cigarette inside there, and you have something that looks like that. One good thing is, again, if you lose one of these, you have another 3. Just don't don't lose those. So that looks good. I like that. Other accessory comes included with as well is the puppet. Now the puppet, I always thought as a kid, was that a bee or a bear? Certainly by the antennas would tell me it would be a bee. The bee has some alternating colors done in brown and then a more of a whitish beige in the middle section band, as well as on the sides as well. A nice paint actually really been done to it. It looks old, and equally so, even though it's been cast in plastic, the texturing that they put to it really does make it look like it's a stuffed puppet. Now it doesn't fit on the Gremlin's hand as such. What it is underneath that, inside there's a peg hole, so you sort of can see where this is going. What you have to do is you have to take the Gremlin's hand. I suppose it doesn't really matter which hand it is, and just wiggle it off the ball joint like so. And then go ahead and take the puppet and then navigate this peg into this hole and just fit it in place like so. I find the puppet's a little difficult to get on there, but once you get it in place, it does look good. And again, it doesn't have to necessarily go with Flash or Gremlin. That's the beauty of these Gremlin releases from NECA Toys. They give you enough accessories going for these that if you wanted to maybe use this for another Gremlin, you have, say, the Winter Gremlins, for example, that we looked at before, why not give them one of the puppets? It's entirely up to you as to what you want to really do with them. While we're also talking about the puppet, we'll just put that right there. Hope that the Gremlin doesn't fall over. It does also come included with the mallet as well. The mallet is very nicely detailed, all done, where you can almost see, well, there you can see it right there, some scratches and indentations to it. So it does look like it's been worn and used a lot of times. I really like the paint work that they've done to the piece. It does have, like I said, just that brushing of paint across it, where you see the brush strokes, but they sort of work in the favor of making it look like I said, the mallet is very old and used. Love these little chips and stuff that they put in there as well. That can fit into the Gremlin's hand as well, although the weight of having both the puppet and now the mallet in his hand, no doubt will cause the Gremlin to fall over, but just sort of fits into his hand like so. You can also really technically fit the mallet into this hand, which is really the more best suited hand for doing that. This hand just being the one that's relaxed and out of packaging, this is really the hand that you want to be using for the mallet. You get, like I said, a little bit more of a secure grip when he's walloping other Gremlins and the puppet as well. That being said, after long looking through those accessories, we'll quickly touch base on the Gremlin, which we've obviously had a look at several times already. Doing my best to not state the obvious, nor stating the things I've mentioned, all the things I've liked about these Gremlins before, I'll quickly tread lightly on it. I mean, these are just fantastically painted pieces. Though the Flasher Gremlin, yes, admittingly, when he's going to be wearing the trench coat, so much of this gets lost. I mean, yes, he does sacrifice the paint work that NECA still put into this piece with the intended plan that you would be removing the trench coat at some given point. But the fact that you're not going to really be seeing it if you're wearing the trench coat is a bit of a shame. Because, I mean, there's so much to get a good look at. The texturing, the paint work, I mean, the airbrushing and transition work that they've done from the darker brown caramel color to the lighter cream color. Again, just some of the best figures, if you ask me, that NECA has released. Again, I just don't want to spend a whole lot of time because, I mean, we've spent so much time discussing the detail work and the sculpt work on these pieces initially. But there's really a lot to admire on these pieces. Again, is this one any bit different from the Ultimate Gamer Gremlin or the Ultimate Gremlin? No, not really. I mean, again, we'll just bring in this one so you guys can see the difference side to side. Short of this one having its mouth closed, short of this one having its mouth open, they are identical to one another. I suppose you could say, technically, let's be fair about the whole matter, the pattern work that they've done on the chest area is larger than this one right here. So I can't really technically say that they're the exact same carbon copy. When clearly looking at them, you can see the star formation that's on the front of the chest is a lot larger here on the Flasher Gremlin that we had gotten on the other one. That really being said, I would want to now go back and look at the Ultimate regular Gremlin to see if the pattern work is exactly the same or if I've just been guessing this whole time, and the actual fact is that they look different from one another. Like it looks like on the back, there's not much that's changed, nor on the shoulders. You could say just the paintwork is slightly a little bit more lighter on the shoulders, but the sculpting is pretty much identical to one another. We'll just put this one over to the side because, again, we've already had a look at this one. Quickly looking at things like his teeth, quickly looking at the interior of his mouth. Some of, I still feel, NECA's best work. I mean, look at that tongue. That's fantastic. The fact that you can see so deep inside the gremlin's mouth. It's just, again, a marvel that they were able to do such solid work on these releases. Still love the ears. Again, these ones are posable, so you can move them back and forth if you wanted to. We'll talk about the articulation in a second. I know I forgot that there was still the bow tie on him. So that does make him also a little bit more unique than the gamer gremlin that we had him compared next to. So let's have a look at the figure's articulation. Still the same as what we had seen before. The head rotates all the way around on a double dumbbell ball joint. So basically there's a ball joint working here, and there's a ball joint working here. This allows for an additional movement of the head up and down on the gremlin, and you can rotate that head all the way around if you wanted to. Mouth does open, mouth does close. Being that they've also used a dark peg right there connecting the lower jaw to the rest of the face, it does well enough to hide that joint, as opposed to if that was just a standout different color. So I like that they used a black peg for that. The ears also do rotate. I noticed on this one, it's a little easier and freer to be able to move those ears about. There's technically a hinge joint working behind the scenes as well, not even so much behind the scenes. There's a hinge joint right there. It's not the same color as the rest of the ear, but to be fair, it's still a continuation of color that's on the top of the ear, so it still hides it well enough. This hinges back and forth, and like I said, those ears rotate technically all the way around, but there's going to be a few little hang-ups along the way. The ear obviously is going to hit the side of the face. I really don't know why you'd want to rotate the ears all the way around anyways. The arms hinge out. Still have an issue where, just due to the sculpt and only the sculpt that's causing the issue, the arm can't hinge past this point, because obviously it's hitting this section right here that it doesn't allow the arm to move any bit more further out than that. You can still rotate the arm all the way around. Just for that, we'll rotate the head slightly out of the way so we can move that. There we go, all the way around on the arm. The elbow does bend. You can also, in that same hinge joint, also be able to move the forearm back and forth. It does have some rotation there. The hand also rotates all the way around. It hinges back and forth, just a little bit there. Upper torso ball joints, that has not changed either. I mean, obviously, when you are rotating the torso, it's going to break up the paintwork that they put to the piece, the belly area of the gremlin. There's no real way that you can work around that. It's just the way that it has to be painted. But it does rotate back and forth. It hinges quite low, really, and quite high also as well. The legs go out. Let me just show you what's going on here. There's a ball joint inside there as well, allowing the legs to go forward, allow the legs to go back. Not much though, just a little bit, because as you can see, the tail sort of prevents a little bit of that leg motion backwards. Does have a bend at the knee. You can rotate that leg forward and back. And then he also does have articulation via a ball joint on the feet. And there's what the undersides of the feet look as well. If you do have any difficulty, by the way, FYI, getting your gremlins to stand, most definitely make use of a display stand. NECA's churned out display stands in the past, and it still has the same universal peg, so you just attach that on the undersides of his feet. Quickly, though I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about the gremlins' tootsies, get a good gander at those feet. I mean, these are, again, things that you're not even going to be looking at on the gremlin, and still, the undersides of the feet are just as detailed as the rest of the figure. Truthfully speaking, even though this one is technically called Flasher Gremlin, Flasher sort of assigns it to be wearing and looking one way. There's enough going for this guy that even though, yes, he is the same figure, we'll just move this one over again. Get him to stand properly. Even though technically, yes, again, he is the same gremlin that we've gotten countless times over, there's enough customization making these gremlins your own thing. Between the accessories that come included with this figure, the accessories that have come included with the Ultimate Gamer Gremlin, the ones that have come included with all the countless gremlins that we've gotten in the past, there's enough, like I said, customization that this one doesn't have to be necessarily the streaker Flasher Gremlin. You could have him playing poker instead. You could have this one playing poker instead. The idea, again, is underneath all of that, you have a great-looking gremlin and sort of a basic clean slate, if you will, for really what you want to do with these gremlins and how you want to have them displayed. I did say the sky's were the limits when it comes to customizing these Gremlins exactly the way that you want, being that they have so many cool accessories to come with each of their releases. You can really design these Gremlins exactly the way you want for your own personal collection. That being said, though, the fact that they did take the time and call this one Ultimate Flasher and pack him with a rather snazzy looking trench coat and fedora, this is probably going to be the look that I'm going to go with. Sort of in the same way as Disguise Raphael. I already have a Raphael, so I'm going to be displaying him in the trench coat. Same thing applies here for the Flasher Gremlin. I already have enough Gremlins as it stands right now. I think my tally goes possibly up to 8 or 9 regular Gremlins. I did buy a couple of extras. There's enough going for these accessories that, again, you can mix and match them to exactly the way that you want to have them look on your shelf. Still, though, I hope in some ways down the road, I don't even think the possibility is there, that NECA will release possibly like a poker table set. Maybe give us a couple of other Gremlins. Because of all the accessories that they come included with, like the cards, the chips, the stein with the beer inside. There's enough going for them that if they started releasing sort of diorama furniture, I think you could really have a great time of displaying these Gremlins with all the accessories that we've gotten up to this point. I do like the look of Flasher Gremlin, even though technically he looks pretty much the same underneath, although by closer inspection, it does appear that the deco done on his front tummy is different than the one that we had gotten before. So it's a little bit, well, you could really, if you wanted to, because this one has brighter colors on his chest, use this one as a regular Gremlin, and maybe get another Gremlin that has the same pattern work as we've seen before, put him in the trench coat. As I said, there's a lot of different customization possible with these releases that NECA continues to put out for the Flasher Gremlin. Underneath the trench coat, though, is still a stellar looking sculpt, stellar looking paint. And it seems more and more the argument as to why this is still my favorite line that NECA has produced. Sure, there's the Jasons, there's the Freddys, there's all that stuff. But some of the best paint work around, I definitely feel and strongly feel you'll find in the NECA Gremlins releases. Do you have the Ultimate Flasher Gremlin? As I said, he's currently available right now in retail stores and online stores. Let me know down below in the comment section what you guys think of it. Also, I'd like to send out a big thank you to the folks over at NECA Toys that supplied the sample on the Ultimate Flasher that we had a look at in this review. If you're new to the channel and liking the content you're seeing, consider the idea of hitting the subscribe button down below. Move on over next door. The house that has the flickering lights, I'm sure there's not Gremlins inside. Turn the bell notification on. And FYI, keep in mind to come back to this channel Monday to Friday, 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when you'll find new videos popping up. And we do like to have premieres and parties at this channel on a regular basis, so stop on over, say hello, and we can hang for a little bit. Definitely a lot of videos coming your way. We're going to have a whole lineup of NECA stuff heading your way as well. So if you're in the market of NECA reviews, you'll find a whole bunch of them on this channel and so much more. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.